This is Jerris Johnson, co-host of the Real Deal Landman show, and welcome to our first ever pre-episode disclaimer. At the time this episode was recorded, it was June 13th. The Thunder were down 2-1 versus the Indiana Pacers in the NBA championships. But as you know, the Oklahoma City Thunder emerged victorious and won it all. Please keep this in mind as you listen to the following episode of the Real Deal Landman show podcast. And thanks for listening. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Real Deal Landman Show podcast. Glad to have you with us today. We've got a great guest with us. Pete Marshall is joining us. Drew, what has happened this week for you that you didn't think was going to happen?
I didn't think that I would be in the mental state that I'm in right now, and that is down 2-1. And I don't know when we're going to release this. That's the problem. Down 2-1. Oklahoma City is in a little bit of a there's a fever in the air, and it's not the most optimistic like what we have had. I think everybody still is outwardly saying, hey, confidently, we're going to get this in game 6. We don't want to really have it come home to 7 other than just us being able to party in the streets afterwards. But there's a little bit of hesitation in people's voice now. So I don't know. I hope that whenever this is released, if you're listening to this and after we've won the championship and after you've seen photos of me, I don't know, passed out someplace downtown, we'll just scratch this whole first part of this and we'll just go right to Pete's, interview. So, but yeah, it's a little bit different.
I feel like the Pacers were kind of underestimated.
I completely agree. I was one of the people that I was like, they're a 4 seed. We're gonna stomp all over them. I hate that it's gonna end in 4 games. Right. And yeah, not so much. We had a block party in our neighborhood, and a lot of the stuff that we use tech wise for like our business here, I trucked it all home, and we put up a huge big screen outside, and all the neighbors came and they watched it, and we lost by like 10. And that was seeing all the neighbors just grabbing lawn chairs and everybody just kind of doing like the little salute and then just walking home very quietly. It wasn't the aura that we were really trying to build, but it was still fun. Still really fun.
So now this is not a sports podcast, but what the heck? We can make it for a little bit, right?
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's right. So do you guys believe or think that there is rigging that happens? So let's say the Thunder has it in their ability and their capacity to where they could have won it in 4 games. Do you think there's pressure from the league to say we need to stretch this more than 4 games? Because if you think about it, networks are primed up for 7. If you don't play 3 games out of that 7, I don't know how many millions of dollars that equates to, or tens of millions or hundreds of millions. I don't know what that number is, but there's got to be real monetary consequences of a championship series going too fast.
Yeah, and I think also because these are not like big market teams, right? So I certainly think it's possible. Yeah, Indiana, Oklahoma City, they're not. It's not Boston and LA.
No, that's exactly right. And while we're talking about that whole rigging thing, whenever, what was it? Joker got traded, right? Early on in the season, the guy from Denver got traded out.
Are you thinking of the Luka trade?
No, the Luka trade. I'm sorry. Cut that part. The Luka trade.
And this is why we're not a sports podcast.
That's why we're not sports. That's exactly right. Sorry, my mind was someplace else. No, the Luka trade. Whenever they trade Luka, and then all of a sudden Dallas comes back and they have like a 0.2% shot or less.
That is suspicious.
There's definitely something going on there. That definitely doesn't look right.
Yeah.
That looks bad on me for not understanding who got traded, but that's fine. I'll take those reps.
Do you go to any games, Drew?
Yeah, we've been to quite a few of them this year. It's nothing like, and I think we may have talked about it a little bit on the podcast of whenever we've talked to Chesapeake people in the past. Those first few years, whenever it was like the Durant and Westbrook and everything, and Chesapeake had their name on the arena downtown. I mean, they had a ton. I don't know the number. I probably would be wrong to say it, but they had 300 plus tickets each game.
No, I think it was 1,300.
No way.
Yes.
Good.
Chesapeake Energy was the largest season ticket holder in the entire league.
I mean, I believe it. They came to Oklahoma City, right?
It's a large part for sure. Yeah. It's a large part. The leadership teams from like Daly, Oklahoma, Sandridge, Chesapeake, it was big time. But I mean, those first few years, anytime we wanted tickets to go to games, like we were fortunate enough to be able to get them. There wasn't like a lottery system. You just emailed somebody and just asked, and you got tickets returned. It was pretty awesome. And then I think we all look back at things like that and think those were definitely the good old days, especially whenever you see ticket prices like in Oklahoma City during the playoffs for what they are for a single seat. And I know that you're going to pay an escalated price for the finals, but holy cow, it is huge.
Was it?
But we are just little simple farmers here. So, we're not used to paying what that is, but people are doing it. Like the place packs out and it's awesome. The next big thing right now is in Oklahoma City, going on. I mean, at this exact moment is the old Myriad. And Jerris, you and I have talked about that before on here. The Myriad is coming down, the old Cox Convention Center. They are doing full destruction on it. The outside is already starting to be ripped off. They did internal demolition first, and now they're starting to take the outside of it down to get ready for the new arena for Oklahoma City.
Got it.
And it's going to be, we haven't seen, and maybe somebody that is listening here has, and if they have, I mean, shoot us an email or shoot us a link to know where we need to look. But they haven't showed renderings that I know of yet of what the new arena is going to look like. But it's supposed to be a knockout, and I hope it doesn't lose its luster of, we really like the sound in this arena. It is just deafening. And I've been to some bigger ones, like, I mean, even the American Airlines in Dallas, it's just so incredibly mammoth in size. I mean, you've got all those people there, but it doesn't reverberate the noise as much to make you go deaf, a few years earlier than you were going to anyway.
When are they planning to have that finished?
So, oh man, I think the season of 2028. I think that's right, but someone correct me.
With whatever happens this year, too, like y'all have such a bright future. Y'all have such a young team. I mean, I'm rooting for y'all. So if it's any consolation,
I appreciate that. I definitely do. We definitely had, like, where I'm talking about the neighbors being out and like everybody like walking around and a little bit down in the dumps afterwards. We definitely heard the word Choklahoma a few times. And for an Oklahoma State fan like I am, where we have lost some games that we definitely shouldn't have lost. I mean, the struggle is real. We definitely know when we kind of get overconfident and it catches up to us. So I think that the team is fantastic. It's done so much for the city.
Yeah.
And like it really is cool right now in Oklahoma City. Like, I'm looking out of my window right now and I can see 3 or 4 big buildings that just have huge Thunder logos put on the side of it. And I know that happens in a lot of different cities whenever like playoffs and stuff, like for baseball and football and everything come in. But like, it's cool. It's like over in Tulsa too, like the whole state is coming around for it. And it's just,
that's awesome.
It's fun to see. Like, these few weeks have been really enjoyable.
For sure.
It's been cool. It's been really cool.
So the old Myriad building, didn't they turn it into a movie studio for a while? What happened with that?
So the movie studio, it was great. It helped shoot like Twister and a little bit of Tulsa King, and it always had projects going into it. Whenever they looked around for where they would put the new arena, that was kind of the prime location for it. And so the city, as I kind of like, I don't want to say it's like eminent domain, but they were like, this is the spot that we're going to do it. And so that Prairie Surf Studios vacated, and I think they did it kind of on their own accord. And from what I understand, I think they are looking for a new, like almost like airplane hangar style, place to be able to build something huge again, to be able to do the different sound stages and everything. So Prairie Surf, to my knowledge, is not going away. They're just kind of on hiatus right now until they can find a new, that's a very unique place, right? I mean, it's got a huge arena in it. It had conference rooms that were just, not conference rooms, they were massive. Just, I mean, absolutely massive. So it was a unique building, and it was very well suited for kind of the movie industry and everything. But real estate, that's the name of the game when it's right downtown in a city that wants to be a major player. They're going to take that and build that into $1 billion arena. So we'll see.
Then what happens to the current arena?
That's a good question. I haven't heard too much of what they're going to do. I think they'll probably keep it around, but I don't know. I mean, I would assume at some point it'll probably be demoed too, just for the real estate, you know?
Sure.
Oh. We'll see. That is one of the things of where, like, you know how we talk about every once in a while of like, you don't realize how quickly you start getting older. And like, that was one of the things whenever I was such a big baseball fan, whenever I was growing up, that I went to the Texas Rangers to see Nolan Ryan pitch. And it was like the coolest thing in the world. And then I heard, hey, Texas Rangers. And it was like it was a tiny ballpark. It was a tiny, like, it didn't seem like a pro ballpark. And it was the Texas Rangers. And they were like, we are building a new ballpark in Arlington. And it's going to be the most futuristic thing you've ever seen in your life. And they built it, and we went down for like the very first game in Arlington, and it was just a knockout, you know, and it's the ballpark in Arlington that's still there now. But it is a real like kick in the pants of you watching yourself grow up, and like you grow with all your friends. Whenever you see on the news or whatever, they're like, this ballpark in Arlington is so old. We've got to get rid of this and replace it with a new ballpark for the Rangers. And
it was the early 90s when they built that, right? I mean,
it was.
By
That's right.
It's not that old.
Not that old, but I think about the ones that I've seen, like that same thing happened. I remember going to Atlanta to see the Braves stadium. I like a lot of, we've traveled around to go to a lot of pro baseball stadiums, but like, now I've talked to like nieces and nephews and everything that are like, oh, we just got in this new stadium and all this stuff. And I was like, I remember 3 stadiums ago. You know, and it's it's a harsh reality that I'm dealing with at this point in my life.
I am admittedly like the biggest Astros fan ever. So does that mean that we're just always
no? I'm a Chicago Cubs fan by heart.
Oh, got it.
I love the Cubs.
We used
to love the Astros too.
Yeah.
Astros are pretty solid, and boy, they've had some good years these last few too. So.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you were saying about just like the excitement that the success of the team does for the city and the state, and just the wave of success the Astros have had over like the last decade has just been awesome, and just something you cannot take for granted. Because
that's exactly right.
Very often,
it's fun to all rally together like as the whole city, and you just really come together with it. It's pretty cool. That's Jerris, do you follow any sports? What's your sport poison?
I wouldn't say I'm diehard about anything in particular, but I do like to watch Oklahoma football.
Yeah.
And I do like watching Thunder playoffs. I will watch some regular season games occasionally, but I do really enjoy going to baseball games, like in-person baseball games. I don't really have a team that I stick with, but anytime I'm in a city that's got a stadium, and schedule lines up, I love going to a game. So I've been able to go to a decent number around the country. Being close to Denver, it's pretty easy to get into a Rockies games these days. In fact, like, you kind of want to go so that you can see what is arguably the worst professional team of any sport in history. Like, it's kind of like, someday you'll be able to say, I was there to see the worst team that ever played any professional sport.
Are they historically that cool. Bad? I knew they were bad. I didn't know they were that bad.
They're really, really bad. Like, they're really, really bad.
Yeah, I get it.
It's bad.
Yeah.
From all of our friends, and I'm sure you guys have them too, of a lot of connections that we have in Denver. I will say, opening day in Denver is a special occasion. Like, it is. Everybody, it shuts down businesses. Everybody goes out, and it's really just almost like a Mardi Gras festival of people just absolutely party for the very first home day game. It is a big, big deal. And it's been that way now for like 10 plus years. And then after that first game, everybody's like, we'll just go out there and grab a beer or something.
Denver, it's a beautiful ballpark.
It is.
I mean, it's a pretty park, and then just like the weather is usually just so amenable.
Yeah.
It's a nice place to sit and hang out for a while.
Now, speaking baseball, have either one of you attended a Savannah Bananas game?
I've not.
Gosh.
I've seen those videos. Like even the
Man,
umpires are into it. Have you?
they are getting popular. Like, I mean, like they are, as somebody who really likes, like, I really like marketing of taking something and seeing how people put like a little spin on it, make it a little bit different, and like it gains some momentum. And I think that they are just brilliant in the way that they market themselves. It's pretty cool. They changed the rules of baseball just a little bit. Like, if a ball is hit foul into the crowd or a home run, if the fan catches it, it's an out.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think that is absolutely amazing.
That's fun. They played in Houston a couple times. I guess, do they just travel around the country?
From what I understand, yeah.
It's like a tour. Yeah.
And it sells out every time. They just sold out, I think, at USC or something. They sold out 90,000 or 85,000. That's
wow.
That ain't bad for baseball, boys. Not too bad at all. Not too bad. Well, I did have some news, Jerris, and I wanted to share this. I feel like we do, now that we're transitioning fully over to a sports podcast, and by God, it was damn near time. I do think that the reason we started this whole thing off was the Landman show on Paramount Plus. And Pete, did you follow it? Did you not follow it?
How can you not?
How can you not is what he says.
I had to watch it. Yeah,
no,
I'm a big Billy Bob Thornton fan too.
Billy Bob Thornton is just absolutely fantastic. He always makes just about any show he's in. But I did see, and I know I'm a little late to the game on the Wellhead magazine put out by the Petroleum Alliance, but they had a really good article in here, and it talked about at Fort Worth and how Fort Worth was kind of booming because of the production of the show. They said they're already into the production of the second season of the show. Yeah. But I thought that this was pretty interesting. It said that the Patch Cafe, which we remember seeing the Patch Cafe, where Billy Bob's absolute train wreck of a wife always goes and hangs out when she's not at the old folks' home. But the watering hole of the Patch Cafe, which the show has on filming, whenever it's on screen, it looks like this really vibrant, amazing, bar. But whenever it's not, it's an abandoned auto shop on Bowie West Boulevard.
Is that in Fort Worth? Like where they shot?
That is in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And so they said it's turned into kind of a little tourist destination of people going by because it looks like it from the outside. And so people taking pictures and everything of it. Said filming its second season currently in Fort Worth. So it's still going right now, even this summer. The Fort Worth Film Commission says that the Taylor Sheridan Project has injected over $325 million into Fort Worth's economy.
Wow.
I will say it again, $325 million. I don't know how.
Just this show?
This is what this is saying. And then this is the other part that raised my eyebrows with this. It said it put $325 million into the Fort Worth economy, including expenditures and catering and equipment and props. So that's bringing all that in. And over how many hotel room nights do you think that Fort Worth says have been dedicated to all the people that are like Landman show focused, Paramount show focused, total? Like it's higher than whatever you're thinking, go exponentially higher.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how many nights of hotel rooms that have been dedicated to this show.
I mean, thousands. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Jerris, what do you think?
54,000.
1,000 hotel room nights.
Is that for both seasons?
I'm assuming so. And this is originally published by WFAA Channel 8 out of Fort Worth, Texas. So the three of us here, we believe the media, don't we? I mean, we believe
everything. Everything I hear.
I can't argue with it.
325 million. So did it say how much we get out of that as the real deal Landman show?
You're bringing up a really good point here. I don't want to say that the second season was solely due to us doing this podcast, but there's got to be a freaking correlation
Arguably, there is no Landman TV show without the Real Deal Landman Show podcast.
Now you're talking sense, is what I want to say. That's exactly right.
I love rolling with that show and just owning whatever takes place in the show. Like I've had people at Ellipsis ask me, like, is that really what you're doing on a regular basis? And I'm like, yeah.
It is.
Every day.
With cartels, having guns pulled on me, all of that.
I think if there was a better segue, I haven't found it yet. I think that is a fantastic segue of getting into who Pete Marshall is. And we talk about what we've seen on the Landman show and what's fact, what's fiction. Pete, you are down in Houston, Texas. I met you years ago. And even whenever I met you, it was way earlier than I thought. Like, I was like, oh, it can't be that many years ago. But yeah, you were in Austin early on. And that's whenever I think you and I met. Give us a background of who is Pete Marshall? Where'd you come from? How did you get involved with this fantastic land industry?
Yeah, I'll just start from the beginning. This is kind of the 30,000 foot view. So I graduated from Texas A&M in 2010. Got a pretty generic business degree. I know I wanted to do business. They don't have like a petroleum land management curriculum, so I got a management degree and just started running title. My grandfather was a petroleum engineer. I kind of knew towards the end of my time at Texas A&M that I wanted to do something in oil and gas. My grandmother was approached by a landman to lease some of her minerals that my grandfather had secured during his career. And I kind of just called him up, cold called him and told him, hey, I want to learn about what you do. And I think this would be a cool fit for me. So awesome. Oil was at $100 at the time, when I graduated. So that didn't hurt.
That's right.
I moved back to Houston and kind of worked for him for a couple of years, running title on the Gulf Coast. So I cut my teeth like in Orange County, Liberty County, Jefferson County, like really, really close to Houston. So I could run title of the courthouse and come back home. So I did that for a couple of years. Then I got a job at Anadarko for about a year. I was helping them in the Marcellus. That was really, really great because it was my first real in-house experience. Got exposed to working interest, net revenue interest, DPUs, JOAs, all that stuff. So that was really, really great. And then you mentioned Austin. That's when that opportunity presented itself in 2013. A group called Three Rivers Operating. They needed some land help. I had no idea what I was getting into. It just seemed like a really cool opportunity and a way for me to pivot from Anadarko. Not that there's anything wrong with Anadarko, but Three Rivers was a private equity backed group. And if you know anything about kind of the history of private equity in the mid 2010s, it was just crazy. Yeah. And Three Rivers was a Permian Basin focused group. So I tell people this all the time. For the majority of my career, I've kind of been in this West Texas bubble. I know I said I was helping the Marcellus or helping Anadarko in the Marcellus earlier on, but since I joined that group in Austin, it's really been West Texas for me and Southeast New Mexico. But yeah, I was part of Three Rivers. They had multiple successful iterations. We entered into a position, then exited. So I was there for 2 iterations, came back to Houston, worked for another private equity backed group for a couple of years, another private company, and then actually did a little bit of battery storage work.
Interesting.
So yeah,
that's interesting.
Which is way different. You're dealing with surface. You're not dealing with mineral ownership. So way different, but good exposure. I feel like, and this will segue into Ellipsis where I'm at now, that focuses on non-op. I feel like a lot of kind of points in my career, I've been a part of the new trendy kind of fad of where development and capital is heading. So, now I'm here at Ellipsis, which I've been at since October of 2023. And we are a non-op group. We focus on strictly non-op interest, primarily in the Permian. We've got a very significant position in Southeast New Mexico, which is, the very, very prevalent part of the Delaware Basin. And pro forma, we're at about 18,000 net BOE a day across 1,000 different wells and about 5,000 net acres. So nice. In addition to the Permian, we also have assets in the DJ, which are really wellbore only, and the Haynesville as well. So it's been good. We're a really small staff. We're not private equity. We're family office backed. And it's just, again, it's been interesting to kind of follow the capital and see how the landscape has changed. That's kind of where we are at this point. I run the land department, so that's my shtick these days.
The battery was that in between whenever you were at Regis? Is that right?
Yeah, that was Regis. So
okay.
Regis was a battery storage company.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, that structure was different. It was more what you would call project equity. So we were developing these sites within Texas to then unload at the private equity company fund level, and it was just very, very different. We were developing sites. We were putting together these projects to acquire 2 acre plots of land, as close to the substations as possible. It was just a different thing. Again, there was so much capital chasing that space. It's just
that is wild.
It was an interesting kind of thing. But I always wanted to come back to oil and gas. So Ellipsis presented itself, and that's where I am these days.
What has changed since you first started with Three Rivers, and you did TRP after that, I think, TRP. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And were they Permian too?
They were Permian as well.
Okay. I thought I remembered that.
They had assets primarily in Upton County.
Okay.
In the Midland Basin, which is what I was primarily focused on. They also had some assets in the merge, or between the Scoop and the Stack in Oklahoma, which you're familiar with as well.
That's right.
But I wasn't as focused on that. It was more about the assets they had in the Midland Basin. And funny enough, they started out as non-op, but then they kind of, as the evolution takes place, they ended up becoming an operator themselves. So that's what I was doing. I was with them for a couple of years, and then
what do you think? So your entire career, and like you said, has been very Permian focused.
Yeah.
What have been some of the biggest changes that you've seen over the Permian since you first started until now? Like you've learned so much over these last few years and working with these different companies, but what have you seen as a shift in the Permian?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that jumps out is just the consolidation. When I got to Three Rivers, again, I had no idea what I was signing up for. I had no idea about private equity, the model, or any of it. I just kind of dove right in. I mean, at the private equity fund level, you had dozens of companies just dedicated to the Permian. So the number of companies was just huge. And the Permian Basin was very conducive to private equity and the private equity model, because what would happen is you would enter into a position, make an acquisition, and pay for one zone, and then another zone would emerge that you didn't put any value on. So, sorry, I'm kind of getting away from your original question, but
no, that's good.
That's the biggest thing that kind of stands out. Just the massive consolidation. The basins are becoming more defined. You've still got a lot of competition, but it's basically more capital dedicated to fewer teams, and more mergers at the public company level, but it's still the place to be.
I agree with you too. I don't think they'd be doing a show called Landman that's focused so heavily on the Permian if it wasn't just one of the hottest, if not the hottest one out there, for sure.
Correct. Like when I tell people I've been in this Permian Basin bubble, for better or for worse, they always say it's not a bad bubble to be in. When capital was exiting the space, right before COVID, I mean, it almost feels like it just came to a screeching halt, 2018, 2019 ish. It was referred to as the tallest midget, within the oil and gas space, because oil and gas was just so looked down upon by investors, and that's when you saw more capital being deployed to projects like battery storage and stuff. So, but yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool to watch. I don't think there's still zones that are being kind of figured out and tested for the first times, like the Barnett and the Woodford out there. So it's just been cool to kind of watch the evolution and particularly follow the money.
Yeah, no, exactly. As working with all those different companies, you've run different land departments of all different sizes, and now you're with Ellipsis. You're able to kind of just keep everything very lean. Are you able to leverage any AI, or are you able to leverage any tech to help you out with, as you guys are identifying these new areas to possibly get into?
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue to kind of just talk about the structure of Ellipsis. So Ellipsis itself is a group of about 16, 17 folks, most engineers and finance professionals that are constantly evaluating deals. Our group that manages us, that's part of the family office, is called Westlawn. They're out of Houston. Ellipsis is out of Dallas. So I'm in Dallas. I'm in Dallas a lot. But to answer your question, it's just me and one other tech right now. So one of their land tech. So we're constantly managing the day-to-days, well proposals, division orders, just stuff that's required to do on a regular basis as a non-op partner. And then I've been fortunate enough to kind of leverage some other field landmen and vendors on a regular basis. I mean, when you're dealing with 1,400 leases It takes a lot. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, they allow me to hire one more person in house here pretty soon, because again, as we continue to look at more deals and just grow, because we're structured and set up to own this asset forever. There will be more help that will be needed.
Will be definitely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
From the perspective of your investors, you mentioned this was a family office. What are the advantages that they see of being solely a non-op company as opposed to jumping into operations?
Yeah, I think you can deploy more capital with less G&A. I think that's the main thing that jumps out. I think our biggest, honestly, you could argue our biggest department, I know I said finance and engineering, but I mean accounting is a big piece of it. But again, you're able to deploy more capital, and at the family office level, the way it's structured, it's a little more patient too. Again, just comparing it to private equity, there's no fund life. We don't have to be in and out. Like I said, we're set up to own this thing for as long as possible. Now anything can happen. As they say, we're always for sale. Yeah, from a non-op perspective, you're just, like I said, you're able to deploy more capital with less overhead, and that makes things really, really attractive. We're constantly looking at new opportunities and new deals, and that spans outside the Permian as well. So the Permian is where we've planted our flag, particularly in the Delaware Basin. But I mean, we've looked at deals in the Marcellus, the Utica, the Mid-Con, the Uinta, South Texas, all over. So that's kind of what being a non-op allows us to do, and why the family office has prioritized it.
When you are looking at these deals, are they other non-op companies that are looking to sell out, or are you looking at potentially buying existing leasehold that will then put you into a non-op position? What types of deals are you looking at, and what do those evaluations look like?
Yeah, good question. So we will always prioritize the big marketed deals that the investment banks pitch, whether it's a Jefferies, RBC, any one of those big guys, because they're real. They're with real bid deadlines, and when a seller has hired an investment bank to market their assets, they're pretty dedicated to actually
doing it, yeah,
materializing and doing it. So we will always prioritize those, particularly the ones that are strictly non-op. With how we've built our position to date, I mean, the bulk of our assets have been on the backs of bigger non-op packages that have been formally marketed. So that's the best kind of way to answer that. With that said, the non-op space has gotten very, very crowded and very, very competitive. So particularly like in 2024, we did smaller deals, but we didn't do any $100 million deals or anything too crazy because it was I think it was a weird space because it was an election year and stuff. But I guess I say all that to say we've had to think about getting a little creative on the deal side. Like we love what groups like Northern are able to do, where they bid on a deal that's being marketed, that's operated, and they partner with another company that's going to operate it, but they're just going to have an undivided piece of it. Like we love the idea of that. Now there are more moving parts because you've got to see the world the same way with the operator and make sure that you value the properties the same way. But we love that. But with that said, we will always prioritize the larger non-op deals. But it's gotten competitive. The space has gotten more crowded. So it presents its own sets of challenges as well.
I know from the connections that we have how the competition in the Permian especially is just really, really out there right now. With all of the large cap mergers that we've seen over the last couple of years, does that present you guys more opportunity? Like whenever they maybe prioritize core asset and then they say these are the ones that we're not looking at. Have you seen these large mergers that have happened and the continuation of the large mergers that are potentially going to happen by the end of the year and next year? Do you see that as real opportunity drivers for you guys and there in the Permian and other places? And do you guys think that you'll ever get into the working, actually operating space?
To answer your second question first, no.
Okay.
We're not set up for that. We don't want to. Ellipsis was established by Adam Howard and Matt Gentry, and they had an operated Ken Anderson backed company. They were drilling wells on the on the shelf near the platform from in the mid 2010s, and they were like, "We're done. We're not doing that ever again.
Not doing this anymore."
It demands a lot. It's very, operating is not easy. So to answer that, we will not be doing that. What we're doing works, and I think our family office has been happy with what we've been able to do. As to your initial question, with all the consolidation, does that present opportunity? In theory, yes. I mean, it's cyclical. It's kind of always happened that way. New companies merge. I hate to use this word. They analyze their synergies and they get their creative acreage, together, and then they shed assets that they're not going to prioritize. And you've seen a little bit of that for sure, but not as much as you'd expect. It hasn't been as active as it has been in the past. I think that's for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, the companies that are merging, I think that just the space as a whole is just more capitally disciplined, so they don't need to sell or liquidate any of these assets like immediately once they combine a company or make other smaller acquisitions. But you're still seeing it. In little batches here and there. So it's certainly not disappeared. And
Ellipsis started in 23. Is that right?
End of 22, beginning of 23. They made 3 big acquisitions in 2023. As I said, 2024 was a little quiet, and 2025 we're excited about what this year can bring. So. Yeah,
that's
sorry,
fantastic.
To answer your question. It was
no, that's good. I hit you with like 3 different questions all at once. That was really that was a pro gamer move. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries at all. So
do you find like do you guys participate in like NAPE and some of the other ones to go down, and like those are the real places where you guys are identifying these different ops?
Yeah, we have a good network. Like I said, we did smaller deals in 2024 that weren't necessarily marketed, that were I hate this word, but we're accretive to our position and, increase the asset value of our footprint. But yeah, we participate in NAPE. We go to all the big Doug events. You mentioned Fort Worth earlier. That Doug event in Fort Worth in mid-May is a huge event. I don't know if
is that Super Doug?
That's Super Doug. Yeah.
Is that right? Super Doug.
And I think that's from a presentation perspective, I think that's got the best speakers and just best insight. NAPE is more of a, if you find a deal at NAPE, you're seeing it for the wrong reasons. So you're going to NAPE to reconnect with people more than anything.
For sure.
But yeah, try to take advantage of all that stuff. It's funny, like earlier on in my career, I embraced that more, and I think it was really, really helpful. And it's still really helpful, but now it's just like, I don't know, it's exhausting for me, just personally.
Because I hear you, man.
You have to be on. And it is work. It's a big party and stuff, but it's, you're having the same conversation over and over and over again with all these people. It's just exhausting for me.
And you are preaching to my soul right now, because like, I think whenever I was like early and mid 20s and getting to go to NAPE, like that was
awesome.
It was awesome. It was amazing. And it still is amazing. I'm not knocking it in any way. It's still absolutely amazing. But the human body can only take so much. And at this point in my life, I'm like exactly what you said I think we've talked about it, Jerris, maybe on this show a couple of times. Is like the week before, you're like having to like pump yourself up, and you're like, yeah, I can do this. Like maybe one more year, I can totally do this. But you get down and kind of into the mix of it, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. But boy, it's not the same as whenever you were doing it in your 20s.
Totally. And I went to I don't know if y'all have ever been to this one, Namoga, which is in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
I haven't been to that one.
Are you familiar with it though?
Yeah, absolutely.
I went to that one, for the first time in October, and it was great. Santa Fe's a very unique city. If
beautiful place.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Do you ever do the World Oil Man?
No, I haven't done that. Wait, are you talking about the poker tournament?
They do the poker tournament, and then they also do the other one out in, I think it's San Diego.
Yes,
that's later this year.
I've been invited. I've never done it. Honestly,
they're very cool.
Yeah, if I'm I'm sure it's amazing. But if I'm complaining like about NAPE in Houston, I can only imagine what Vegas would do to me. It's funny too. My wife works in the industry, and she goes to the poker tournament every year.
Does she really?
Yeah.
Man.
She really enjoys it. Do y'all go? Have y'all played in the?
I've been into it. Yeah, I've been to it a couple of times. Never played in it. But that's probably for good reason. They don't need me setting like some record on the quickest person out. That's what I don't want to be known for.
Yeah. It's grown as I understand it. Like
It has.
you know, it's
They've
got
done a phenomenal job growing it. Like I think so. All of us here have been, I think, in oil and gas about the same length of time, and I think that's one of the most fun things of seeing the evolution of, and not just of the events and of the different connecting points, but you get to experience the cool thing of getting to see your network grow, and you get to do it in all of these different ways of, the small little local, like the happy hours or the get-togethers, and just like you start seeing the same people at these things, and you start looking forward to seeing people again, and like it's just so fun. This is like the most fun time in my career right now, of just being able to go out and see people at the different events, and to your point of how it drives business forward. I mean, that's exactly like what you're talking about, of being able to get these different deals coming through because of all the different people that it just spider webs out.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I would say too, like, it sounds sappy, but it's true. Like, you know, the industry is a fun and unique one to be in, but I would say one of the most rewarding things for me is just maintaining those relationships with the people that you've worked with over the years, because it is a small industry too. So, or like, I mean, this is a perfect example, reconnecting with you, Drew. So like,
Sure.
I think that's a very rewarding, just cool aspect of it that you don't necessarily sign up for at the beginning of your career.
I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Do you travel much for work? And do you have a favorite city that you go
Yeah.
to?
Yeah. So I used to travel when I lived in Austin. I used to travel to Midland probably once a month, maybe twice a month for like 5 years. And I did that for so many different reasons early on in my career. I wanted to establish my network. And again, as I said earlier, there were dozens of portfolio companies like of each private equity firm, like just in the Permian alone. So I traveled more early on in my career just to establish that kind of network and expand my base. Again, I was single. I didn't have another boss like I do here in Houston. So I was free to kind of do what I wanted. So yeah, I traveled more early on. Now, I'm between here and Dallas so much, so I'm traveling to Dallas a lot for work at the Ellipsis headquarters there. But I'll go. I think to the extent now that I travel, it's mainly to those bigger events like we mentioned, like Doug and NAPE and Namoga. But there's nothing that replaces, like, if I have to talk to a landowner, I'll always prioritize seeing them face to face, especially if it's a big interest that we really need to prioritize. I don't think there's really a substitute for that, or meeting in person with a company that we're on the verge of coming to an agreement with. I just think that you can't really replicate that, even via Teams meeting or Zoom meeting. So yeah, I don't travel as much as I used to, but yeah, I certainly did a lot earlier on in my career.
Among the cities or towns where you've traveled before, do you have a favorite restaurant or experience that you like in any of these particular cities?
Man, favorite restaurant. So it's funny. I'm not really a foodie. I enjoy food, but like I'm not like I don't really. Yeah, as far as restaurants go, I keep it pretty simple when I travel. Favorite city though, yeah, Denver's pretty cool. I enjoy it. I enjoyed Denver and staying at the Four Seasons anytime I've only been a couple times there lately, but like outside of that, again, the industry is so small. Uh, Actually, I take that back. Let me take my answer back. It's not Denver. It's probably, man, that's a really good question. Maybe it's Austin at this point, just to visit.
Austin's great.
Austin.
You're fortunate to have lived down
Yeah,
there. Like that's a fantastic place.
yeah. It's changed so much. Again, I was there from 2013 to 2018. But yeah, it has so much to offer. It's so unique. Um, yeah, it's probably Austin. I feel like the oil and gas footprint there has kind of actually shrunk a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's
Is Three Rivers still there, or is there there's nothing left?
no.
And like I know Lux is gone, Parsley's gone. Like
Yeah,
it
that's
was
kind of what I'm speaking to. Lux is gone. Yeah, Parsley's
there was
gone. Yeah,
and
you still got Brigham there. Brigham's there.
yeah, that's right.
But
It's no knock to Austin. I wish more companies were down there because it's a fantastic place. It's a
yeah, it
really
was good.
fantastic place.
It was kind of a good city to be in, particularly as a Permian Basin company. You're 5 hours from Midland if you drive, which isn't terrible. They didn't have a direct flight when I was there, but yeah, it was a good location. And if you wanted to be a South Texas player too, that wasn't a bad city to be in. I really like San Antonio too.
Pete, where Oklahoma City is, I think right at, I think, 6.5 to 7 hours driving to Midland.
Is it? Okay.
But we don't have a direct flight either. And so if we want to fly, we have to go Oklahoma City to Houston, and it's like a 2 hour, hour and a half layover. And then, or maybe on some of the airlines it's not, but it's really difficult to get down there, especially if you've got like morning meetings and everything. And so we end up just driving it just because we're like, it's about the same amount of time, that we would be in the airport. But we have some absolute just nuts on our team here that will drive Midland and to a lunch and back in the same day. Oh my gosh. Like I've done it with them, I think twice now. And it's an interesting ride.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the Real Deal Landman podcast playing in the back the entire time, it'd be miserable. But we got this thing going. So
that's awesome.
But
that's a lot to ask for one day.
Yeah, no, for sure. The last main question that I wanted to ask you, and I feel like you've got a pretty good one of, we always talk about like with this show, and there's so much exaggeration with it, and there's so much stuff that they kind of glamorize with the landman profession. Tell me, within the last, 2 decades of your career, you've got to have at least one very interesting run-in with a landowner, or very interesting story that may be featured on the 2nd or the 3rd season of Landman if they hear it here.
Ooh, that's a high bar. I don't know if I can. Again, I've had a pretty boring career, which I think is a good thing.
That's a good thing.
I don't think that's a bad thing. So I don't know if anything would qualify for the show. But one thing that just comes to mind that was so funny at the time, I'm sure it probably won't be as funny as I retell it. It was one of those you had to be there kind of things, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. So I was working in Austin for Three Rivers. I was spearheading a huge like leasing campaign. So we, the asset that we ultimately exited during my first iteration there was like 125,000 acres, but we leased like 40,000 acres in the Gaines, Andrews, Martin, Andrews. We called it the Four Corners area. And, so I was managing vendors and field landmen to take leases and stuff, but I would interject myself if they wanted to hear directly from the company that was actually leasing. So I spoke to this one guy, and he was super old. The title was really, really nasty. And I had this guy that I worked with at Three Rivers who was very, very good at what he did. He was in the land department, but he was very eccentric, and he didn't really know how to simplify things, especially when it came to interacting with other people. He was always like the mad scientist behind the curtains that always helped him with the title, because he was just really good at that. But there's a reason why, he didn't interact with landowners face to face. So we're talking on the phone, and we're explaining like the title and kind of how it came into this landowner's name, and why we're reaching out to him today, because he hadn't had a phone call in years. And the gentleman that I was working with was going on, mind you, this landowner was very, very old, and you could tell he was like a no nonsense like kind of guy. He just wanted you to dumb it down and just keep it as simple as possible. This guy who I had on the phone, who I shouldn't have, like, was taking him through like, the whole chain of title from like patent to this guy, and I could just feel the tension on the phone. So after he gets done with his little like spiel of how the title kind of plays out and why we're talking to this guy in the first place, my coworker, I kind of interrupt him, and I just go, "Okay, that's fine, Mr. Williams." I don't remember what his name was. Does that make sense? Like, do you follow us? Do you understand kind of where we're coming from? I kind of just wanted to dumb it down. And this is his verbatim response. He goes, "Not really. It just sounds like a bunch of bullshit to me." And I laughed so hard. Like, because I knew that's what he was thinking. He was so excited to hear all this stuff, and that was his response. And I can't remember how it was resolved, but it was ultimately the last time I would ever include that coworker on a call with any one of these simple landowners. I just want it dumbed down. So
that's right. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. So again, that's this was funny as I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, there are so many others. Again, just traveling hours on end on no sleep and meeting with people in the middle of nowhere. The thing that I've found is, like, particularly when it comes to landowners, people are generally good, decent people that just want you to shoot them straight and want you to be transparent. You get some difficult ones every once in a while, but I mean, that's also been a really, really fun aspect of my career too. Just getting in front of people and, paying them a lot of money to take a lease. Like that's what I enjoy too. So, yeah, but it's one of those things that was just so funny because I knew that's where it was heading and that's what he was thinking. And then to know, no surprise
That
of mine, that's exactly what he said.
that is so stinking funny. I totally appreciate that. I think that's a fantastic story. We'll talk to Taylor Sheridan to see if we can get that in second or third
No,
season.
thank you.
Yeah, I absolutely.
I mean, that's a high bar, Drew. Like
It's a high bar. I agree with you on some of the most fun things, and I know I've said it on here before. If the interactions with our networks and meeting like people like yourself, like Jerris, like our entire network of being able to see these people again and talk to them, like that's highest part and the thing that I am so thankful for in my career. Just like what you said, I love meeting the landowners too. I don't do that anymore, just because that's not the business that we're in. But like I loved it, and I love being able to explain to them, like if they had hesitation about something. I love to be able to. Chesapeake, I'm so thankful for. A few times for really big checks, like really, really big checks, they let me hand deliver the checks to people, and like being like that wasn't coming from me, but they had worked with me for a long time, and the fact that like I could deliver like the first big royalty check, like it was fun to see that, fun to be
Yeah,
a part of it.
yeah.
That's
I know.
cool.
I couldn't agree more. And that was that was some of the best, most enjoyable time of my early career. Yeah, just interacting with landowners, and especially when things were. I mean, things are still fun now. It's just the industry's changed so much.
It's just changed.
You're
You're
not
right.
you're not leasing 40,000 acres, in a new play in the Permian these days. But
That's right.
that was just fun to be a part of and meet new people.
Well, Pete, I really appreciate, number one, I appreciate
Yeah.
being able to see you again. If companies are looking to, if they've got Permian assets or they've got some sort of assets that they think you might be interested in, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
To get a hold of me, yeah, holler at me. Pete.marshall@ellipsis.us. That's the quickest way to get my attention. That ellipsis.us is our website too. We have an info page. So yeah, get at us. We are on the prowl and we're looking. So but yeah, that I would say those are the quickest ways.
Sounds like you're a part of a good aggressive company, and we wish you the absolute best with this.
In terms of different assets that you guys might be looking at, is there stuff that is considered too big? Is there stuff that's considered too small? What would you say is the sweet spot of some type of project or opportunity that someone should bring to your attention?
So I'm gonna answer this the best way I can. Where we already have an established position, primarily in New Mexico, where we just know it very, very well. There's really no deal too small. We can evaluate it quick. We can put pen to paper and then get an offer out really, really quickly. Before I answer this next question, Matt, Adam, don't kill me, but I think this is right. So if it's a new asset, like in a new basin that we don't have an existing footprint in, I mean, it's got to be, it can't be a $2 million deal. It's got to be significant and substantial. And I'm just guessing, in the $50 to $100 million range for a deal like that. That said, it's all subject to final management approval. So that's kind of the best answer I'd give you. So where we have most of our upside and most of our existing locations and in the Permian, there's really no deal too small. And then outside of that, where we don't have an existing asset, that would probably be the number that we'd have to hit to take it seriously.
For those groups that sometimes take over AFEs, or for a company that is considering going non-consent on an operation, but they're willing to work with another party, or do you guys do things like that as well?
Yeah, we'll evaluate it. It depends on kind of the activity and the bandwidth that we have available too. Again, we're evaluating deals all the time, and our resources are limited. Again, we have a lot of really, really talented engineers and finance professionals that are constantly churning out deals, but we're always going to prioritize the bigger ones because you're able to spend more capital. And that's certainly what we want to do. When things are slower, we'll start looking at those AFEs and wellbore only deals. But we certainly don't prioritize those. If they're in the vicinity of what we own, though, I mean, we're on all the distribution lists, so we'll certainly at least screen it. But it really depends on our availability, depending on any other number of deals we're currently looking at that could potentially be a lot bigger. So more efficient for us.
Well, we definitely appreciate the time that you've spent with us today. It's been a real honor to have you on the show and to be able to learn more about Ellipsis and learn more about your career.
Yeah.
And we certainly wish everybody well. And hopefully, by the time this episode comes out, either the victory parade for the Thunder will have already happened, or it's going to be happening, or it's going to be in the planning stages.
All of those things. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to put it out there in the universe for sure. I like it.
And if not, then this episode will never air, and our apologies to Pete.
That's right. We're scrubbing this thing. It's out. Totally out. No, we really hope that goes through. It's so fun to be a part of it. Want to thank Roland AI. Want to thank Scramble Project Management Software, Novus Consulting. That's where my bread's buttered, and Anchored Innovations, whatever the hell they do. So for Drew Hopkins, for Jerris Johnson, Pete Marshall, we are so thankful that you came on today. But we'll see you next time on the Real Deal Landman Show. See ya.
Thank you guys. All right. See ya.